So this is kind of a reunion here, a little bit.
It's totally a reunion. I haven't seen him in like 15 years. And I have seen you, but not for a really long time.
Yeah.
The last time was at like at MoMA or something, right?
Yes.
When you were in, what's his name? Bob Byington's movie, and then we all went out afterwards. And, yeah. So when I came here, to do this, I was like, oh my God, is the panel going to be like post-traumatic stress syndrome? Because it was such a traumatic experience.
So I think it's because you guys were all grown-ups. I don't remember
you don't remember
like
because
that.
you were running around and having fun and
I
getting in
remember
car
I
accidents.
was like loving Tom. I was like, I love Kevin. I was like, oh, Tamara's I'm gonna be Tam when I grow up. I was like having a very different experience. So speak to the trauma.
Keep talking.
Okay.
Do you remember that though? Do you remember being really tense and stressful?
Do I remember being tense?
Uh-huh.
Was I?
No, you weren't tense. You were fantastic.
Oh, do I remember the project?
Set, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. There was some tension, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because we had worked together on a much lower budget, kind of like a short.
I stuck it in my bag. I don't know why. I was like, I'm putting that in my purse.
Yeah.
We made a film.
Family Remains.
Yeah.
Is that the black and white film you showed me?
Yes.
That was brilliant.
He's so good in it. It's super stylized and very different, and Kevin was in it, and that's when I fell in love with Kevin. I probably had fallen in love with you in some other context, seeing you do stuff. I even fell in love with you in Goodfellas for 2 seconds, like making pasta.
Stirring the sauce.
Yeah. Stirring the sauce in a wheelchair. But anyway, we had done that together, and then I just think he's so great. He blushes like crazy. He's doing it right now. But I mean, he's so available that like in the scene where I didn't watch the movie, but I just remember from being there 100 years ago, him feeling you up and being in the laundry room and I don't know, just your vulnerability was really great. Both of you. It was really nice. It was so long ago. You guys were babies.
Yeah. Well, we had Natasha and I had this chemistry before we even met because you were staying at Mike's place, and that's where I had spent 6 months of my life, just like less than a year earlier. So then we were talking on the phone before we even met, and I think like there was a clanking or some weird thing in the bathroom that I could hear over the phone. I was like, oh, is that? Didn't Mike get that fixed? So she was like, how do you know about it? So it was,
Rappaport?
Yeah.
Actor, what's the most?
Like Mighty Aphrodite and Beautiful Girls.
Didn't he have a TV show also a few years ago with some kids?
been on a lot of TV.
He's this big, tall guy with red hair and a really New York accent.
Super New York. The Tribe
He
documentary.
kind of talks like this, and that was sort of like I showed up to set and I was like, hey, yo, Tam, we're gonna fucking make this picture. Let me tell you about Vivian. She's gonna have this great rack, and it was like, it was a nightmare. That's what she had to.
No, but we did.
Well, you sounded more like Kathy Moriarty. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Not like gangster, but just more like sort of dry, monotone, this urban kind of monotone.
Right.
But I think you're right about there was an armor in her voice.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I remember you pacing around my little apartment, and we kept talking about it. We were talking about how some people protect their bodies or walk in a certain sort of way because they feel like it protects them, and then you have to kind of work on relaxing them. The same thing with your voice, so you could be available with your emotions, and it really worked. Like I was like, bring it up an octave. And you were like, this is weird up here. Okay.
I feel like such a
I don't know. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Which is true. I mean, that is a real thing. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it was definitely It was definitely true. I remember it felt so vulnerable to do that.
Right.
It was so scary when you were asking me. I was like, and I was so defensive. Like, I'm not fucking doing that. So, like, I don't even know what you're talking about. This is just how I talk.
No, you were. That's not true. She was really dedicated to trying to get rid of it. We called it peeling the onion. We kept talking about it. I was like, well, just one layer. Just get rid of that. And she's such a great comedian. Like a great physical comedian. And you were just a natural.
I mean, you know, what the character goes through is hard also.
Right.
So the experience that she went through as a real person, and the parallel between the two experiences is just pretty heavy.
Right.
And also going from the short film to the feature. You know, I remember feeling like it was a tremendous step up, you know, from the structure of the project and just the whole vibe, and how there was just so much more at stake, not only in the story you were trying to tell, but in the way that the thing was getting made, and it seemed so. Like the scene in the convertible, I didn't watch it either, but like it was night, we were naked.
That's the one I was just thinking about. Do you remember how crazy that was? And we were having those weird suits or something, and it was like we were so like scared for some reason. Why were we so scared? The camera was so far away.
We were naked. It was LA. It was night. It was cold, and it went on forever.
But I remember having to prove to you that we were not going to see your body, but we were just going to see the slice of you, and I remember me and the producer Stan taking off I have a photograph of it. You took the picture. You took a picture of it where I took off my clothes with Stan, the gay producer, and the weird girl director, and we got on the ground and we got naked and laid there, and I said, see, you can't see anything, right? Like, you can't see my breasts, right? You can't see you just see the flank. And I remember just having to, she was like, wait a minute, you know.
I mean, looking back, really, I should have been doing that a lot more. Like, if I could have known now what I know then, I would have spent the whole movie with no clothes on.
So it's interesting.
Huh?
That actually wouldn't have worked because of the...
Yeah, well, whatever, okay? With like a photograph and
Carole
tape.
King with the Carole King.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I just think it's interesting that, you know, having not seen the movie for so long, is it weird to think back on, or have there been, you know, reasons why you haven't wanted to revisit, you know, this movie you made, I don't know, 15 years ago? Is it weird to go back and watch stuff
It's
that
really
you did
hard
many
to
years
watch
ago?
things that you make, period, I think. I mean, because you spend so much time with it and then you have to put it away, and I don't know if, do people watch their movies that they made a lot? I don't know. I find it really hard. I mean, you just see your mistakes, and like, then you also can relive like the trauma of the day. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I probably, you know, it depends what kind of, I can't, because she said, oh, should we get there early and we'll watch the movie? And I was like, I'm not watching the movie.
Well, and I mean, and I just have to say, like, again, I mean, I totally have such the opposite experience of it, that I think also then, you know, because obviously I had, you know, all my shenanigans and with the drugs and et cetera, and I feel like the three of you were such specific, you know, sort of like touchstones of like people that were really like, get it together, don't die or whatever, you know, and like, this is like it was such a huge movie for me, and just in terms of like, specifically like the three of you and those relationships. Like, I mean, I've been in touch with you guys for the past, whatever it is now, like 15 years. And I think it was like, for me, a very like, I guess perhaps I just hadn't worked enough, I hadn't lived enough, and like, my family was like such a bad scene that it really felt like I had this whole surrogate family. I was like in love with Alan Arkin, like if he could just be my dad, and like, you know, when I see Marissa, I still get intimidated, like she's, you know, like the age gap is smaller now that we're older, but I still get that intimidated feeling around her of like, she's like so much older, like smarter than me, she's like prettier, I look up to her in this way, and I just, I mean, I just was like such an. This movie has such a special place for me in a way that, like most movies I don't even watch because they're weird me out. I just see them as like.
Well, it's an autobiographical film, and it also touches on your autobiography too.
Yeah.
It's just so personal.
And then the other stuff, like the Carl Reiner, Rita Moreno, the Jessica Walter, like all that other stuff, I feel like it was really pretty wild.
Can you talk about working with Jessica Walter?